the purpose for making this video is the analysis of recent income tax paper held on May 2022. Okay, and one more important purpose for making this video is to communicate the importance of our material and to communicate the importance of guest papers released by guest questions released by Masterminds Management in each and every attempt, and communicate the importance of material and the management efforts while preparing the material. In fact, the management expend a lot of amount for preparation of materials. Not only they are paying salaries not only to for taking classes to the faculty, but also preparation of material. So one of the important point, our material is one-step solution which includes all the areas wherever you need in examination point of view. Have you understood? And one more important point, it don't go outside our material, because while preparing our material, so we were considered whatever the areas which are very important and whatever the problems which we need from outside sources, that is reputed other books, so were also included in our material. That's why I confidently saying this sentence, that is, our material is one-step solution. Don't go outside our material, because 99% of the examination paper within our hands. Okay, so please blindly prepare first our material. If you want, if you have a time, if you have an interest, you may go for outside materials, that is some reputed other books, if you want and if you have sufficient time. So that one of the important, the first priority must be given to our material. It's mandatory, because all the areas wherever we need, wherever you need in examination point of view, were already included in our material. So it's the management continuously concentrate for preparation of material and updating the existing materials in each and every attempt. If any one problem, if any concept missed your material, they want to try to release a supplementary material after completion of coaching. So don't bother about that. You blindly prepare our material. Okay. So the first one is the analysis of recent income tax paper examination held in May 2022. Okay, so this is the question paper. This is the question number 1, which is from total income chapter. Question number 1 from total income chapter. Total income chapter. It's a 14 marks problem. In fact, this is the first problem which is mandatory to the students. So, and one of the important point in each and every attempt, the first problem must be from total income chapter. So the weightage of this problem is 14 marks, which is mandatory. Okay. So actually I give you some important analysis, the points related to analysis of this problem. That is, the problem is slightly lengthy when compared to previous 2-3 attempts problems. Slightly lengthy, around 10-13 adjustments are there. But one important observation is the problem is very easy when compared to previous 3-4 attempts. Very easy. Problem is slightly lengthy but easy. Very easy to answer this question. If you had prepared, if student had prepared our material as it is, then they can answer this question comfortably. One of the important point, each and every word, each and every adjustment in this problem covered in our material in various areas, in different chapters. Okay, so this is the problem number 1 from total income. The weightage of this problem is 14 marks. So all these adjustments in this problem were covered in our material in various areas. Adjustment 1 to 7. Adjustment 1 to 7. Adjustment 1 relates to depreciation in PGBP, section 32. It was discussed in PGBP chapter, section 32. It's a adjustment related to depreciation. Okay. Adjustment 2 relates to also again depreciation, section 32. Depreciation related adjustment. Adjustment 3 also relates to also relates to PGBP head of income, but section 40A, subsection 1A. Okay. So anyway, adjustment 1 to adjustment 7 exclusively related to PGBP head. And adjustment 4 is a deemed profit related, also relates to PGBP. Section 41, subsection 1. Next, adjustment 5 also relates to PGBP, 40A subsection, which was discussed at 40A subsection 3. Adjustment 6 also relates to PGBP, the 43 subsection 5, that is speculative business transaction. And the 7th also relates to PGBP, then 40B. Anyway, so in this problem, adjustment 1 to adjustment 7 exclusively relates to PGBP head of income. If you had prepared the PGBP head of income perfectly, then you can answer these 7 adjustments very easily, because these are very easy adjustments. There is no complication at all in these adjustments. Have you understood? And the next, adjustment 8. Adjustment 8, which was discussed in, which is exclusively related to income from other sources and the chapter 6 year deductions. Actually, this was discussed in chapter 6 year deductions, but which is related to income from other sources also. So that is one of the important point. And adjustment number 9, it's relates to capital gain. Adjustment number 10 relates to income from other sources, is a gift concept, income from other sources, which was discussed in other sources head. It was covered in concept of gift, very easy transactions. There is no complication at all. And adjustment 11, it relates to capital gain chapter, 112A section, capital gain 112A, STT related point. Have you understood? And adjustment 12 and 13 are exclusively for chapter 6 year deductions, and one is 80DD and another one is 80C. So this is the problem number 1. Very easy, I think very easy to solve this problem to those students who have complete knowledge about the subject, complete knowledge about PGBP head, other sources and capital gain. Mainly 3 heads of incomes involved in this chapter. So one is PGBP, capital gain, other sources and chapter 6 year deductions. And one point is relates to TDS provisions. Have you understood? So this is the problem number 1, which is from total income chapter. The weightage of this problem is 14 marks, but the problem is slightly lengthy when compared to previous attempts, but the problem is very easy to answer when compared to previous attempt. Lengthy but easy. Even average students also can answer this question if they had prepared well, if they had listened the classes perfectly and prepared well the subject in preparation time. Compulsory they can answer this question. At least 90% of this question can be answered by those students who have complete knowledge, who have concentrated on preparation and listening classes. Okay, so total income problem. So, but next, I think one of the important point in our material, in our masterminds material, in total income chapter, in masterminds material, total income chapter, CRD 6, CRD 10. CRD 6, CRD 10. So whoever solved these two problems in your total income chapter, they can answer this question 50% perfectly. So because out of these adjustments, 50% of the adjustments, around 40 to 50% of the adjustments covered in CRD 6 and CRD 10 in Masterminds material. So that is the importance of our material. Generally, total income actually give you some important points which is very useful to you. Don't expect the copy paste problems from any material, because they design the problem before the examination with the team of experts. Compulsorily they made some changes to existing problems. They never pick the problem from any material, not only from our material but also from study materials, whatever it may be. They compulsorily made some amendments, they compulsorily made some modifications to existing problem. So based on the conceptual knowledge, that's why I want to say to the students, conceptual knowledge is very important. Only with the conceptual knowledge you can answer the question, whatever they want, whatever they made changes to the existing problem, you can answer those questions comfortably with the conceptual knowledge. So conceptual knowledge is very important. Don't prepare the material blindly. First prepare the material and understood the concept, and apply the concept while solving the different model problems. Then you can answer. If new problem will asked in examination point of view, you can answer comfortably. Okay, so this is in our material. CRD 6, CRD 10 is the similar to this problem, around 50%. 50% of the adjustments from CRD 6, CRD 10. And one more important, in guess questions released by the masterminds, so 4 and problem number 4 and problem number 9. So the same 6th and 10th problems were provided in your guess papers released by the masterminds management. Same CRD 6, CRD 10 was also provided to the students in guess papers, guess questions released by them. That is one of the important point. And the similar nature of problem also had asked in earlier attempt also. That is, this is the last one. January 2021 attempt, May 2019 attempt. Around 50% of these type of adjustments had covered in those attempts also. So anyway, the final conclusion relating to the first problem is slightly lengthy, but the problem is very easy to solve to even average students also with the conceptual knowledge. Okay, so and one of the important point, what are the chapters involved in this problem is a TDS related problem, TDS related adjustment 1, and there are 7 adjustments from PGBP and 2 adjustments from other sources and 2 adjustments from capital gain and 2 adjustments from chapter 6A. And all those adjustments are very easy adjustments. There is no complication at all. It's a straight points. Okay, there is no complication in any point. These points are very straightly taken from our material in various areas, because in fact all these areas were covered in our material without fail. Okay, next. Question number 2. Discuss the taxability of tax deducted at source, TDS. The second question is TDS related. TDS. The weightage of this question 6 marks. 2 marks, 2 marks, 2 marks. Okay, so around 3 points out of that, the first point is section 194O. In TDS section 194O. Second and third point 194C. there are two sections from TDS chapter. So covered in this examination point of view. First point relates to 194, TDS made by e-commerce operators. Example, Amazon, Flipkart, etc. 194C, 194C, these 194C deals with TDS made by contract payments. So anyway, these two sections was also provided in your guest papers. These two sections also provided in your guest papers. That's the importance of guest papers released by the management. Okay, so 194O, 194C, these two sections also provided in your guest papers. But one of the important point, the second point was not covered in our material. Not covered in our material, the second point. But that section was given in your material. Based on the knowledge of such section, you can answer this question. But this point is straightly not given in our material. That is, the point is related to natural gas. But this point was covered in ICAI study material. This point was covered in ICAI study material. I show you where it was covered. This is the ICAI study material, page number 9.27. Section relates to 194C. This is the point, natural gas. The point taken from this area. But this paragraph had not included in our material. So I tell you once again, so where any concepts or any model problems were not covered in your material, then I issue a supplementary material to you by the management after completion of your coaching. Don't worry, don't bother about that. Whatever the concepts, whatever the problems, model problems were not covered in your material, already issued by the management. So we have been always trying to identify the concepts and problems which were missed in your material and provided those concepts and problems in supplementary material. They will be released separately, a supplementary material after completion of your coaching, while in preparation time. So you may prepare such material also. Okay, so actually this paragraph 194C provided in your material, but in such section this paragraph has not given, but this paragraph was included in ICAI material, page number 9.27. So we are trying to include this paragraph in upcoming supplementary material will be released by the management to you. Don't worry. Okay, so coming to the point, so in our material, in Masterminds material, so these points, the problem number 2 is exclusively relates to TDS 194O, 194C. So these two sections were provided in our material. I show you where it was covered. This is 194O section. So one point relates to this section, TDS made by e-commerce operators. So next one is 194C. 2 points relates to 194C. It's a contract payment, but in this section that point was not covered, relates to natural gas. So but it was covered in ICAI material. So and one more important, these two sections also provided in guest papers released by the management. If you prepared well those two sections, you can answer this question comfortably. Have you understood? In guest papers, this is the guest papers. So in this, this is the TDS and TCS chapter. So I provide in this guest papers the section number 194C and 194O also. Okay. Next, question number 3. Question number 3 is a set off and carry forward related question. Set off and carry forward. set off and carry forward. It's a too easy question. The weightage of this question is only 4 marks. Too easy question. Set off and carry forward. So that I think this is the too fundamental problem. In fact, when compared to this problem, the students solved toughest problems, even more complicated problems solved in classroom. Okay, so that this is very easy and very fundamental problems. In fact, some points were deleted from existing problem which was already solved in classroom. So the same problem has given in this eliminating some points, that filter the problem and delete some points. The balance points will be given only for 4 marks. This is from set off and carry forward. Set off and carry forward. So this type of problems, around 3 to 4 problems covered in our material. I show you where it was covered, and this type of problem was also provided in guest papers. Yes, this problem in Masterminds material CRD 4. Around 90% of this problem covered in CRD 4. If you had prepared CRD 6, you can answer this question very easy. In fact, this is very easy when compared to CRD 6. CRD 6 is more difficult when compared to this problem. But all these points was covered in CRD 6. In addition, that some other points also covered in CRD 6. So CRD 6 in 46th material, 46E CRD 6, 90% of this problem was covered in that material in CRD 6. And this CRD 6 also provided in guest papers, set off and carry forward chapter. I show you. Set off and carry forward. This is CRD 6. Set off and carry forward chapter. Guest papers, CRD 6. If you had prepared CRD 6, compulsorily you can answer this question 100% without fail. It's a too fundamental problem, too easy problem. Okay, so I show you CRD 6 in our material. This is CRD 6. All those points in examination problem covered in this CRD 6. In fact, this is the too difficult problem when compared to examination problem. Okay, so next one. Next one is the clubbing provision related problem. Clubbing. This is the clubbing, section 64 subsection 2. 64 subsection 2. This model problem has solved in your material and has covered in your material also. So this model problem has covered in our material and it had solved in our classroom also. So this is HUF related problem, partition of HUF, clubbing provision at the time of partition of HUF, conversion of self-acquired property into joint property. So I show you where it was covered in our material and where it was covered in guest papers released by the management. In our Masterminds material, the similar problem is there in our material, that is CRD 9. 90% of the problem as it is taken from the problem included in our material. 90% matched with the problem CRD 9. If you had prepared CRD 9 in our material, then you can answer this question very comfortably. So 100% you can answer this question very easily and very comfortably without fail. Okay, I show you where it was covered in our material. This is CRD 9. Similar problem, CRD 9, HUF related problem, partition of HUF, 64 subsection 2, section number. If you had prepared this problem, then you can answer the question in examination automatically, comfortably, without fail. Have you understood? So, and this problem was also provided in guest papers. I show you where it was covered, CRD 9 in our material. Now, look at the guest papers released by Masterminds Management Clubbing Provision. This is the Clubbing Provision chapter. The last one is CRD 9. Have you understood? That's the importance of our material and the importance of guest papers. Okay, next one. Look at the next question. So this is related to income from other sources. The weightage of this problem is 8 marks. Income from other sources, that is gift related problem. The similar problem is there in our material. The similar problem is there in our material except this point. This point has taken from another area. So they mix the some other point with this problem. The remaining problem as it is included in our material, but this identified point was covered in another problem. So they merged the one problem with another problem. So I tell you again, don't expect the problems as it is from any material. They continuously trying to modify the problems. You can answer the question whatever the problem given in examination point of view, whatever the changes made by the examiner, you always be ready to answer with your conceptual knowledge. Listening classes carefully is very important. Preparation is very important. Then only you can answer the question comfortably, very easily. Okay, so the entire problem was covered in our material as it is except the identified point. That point was covered in other problem. The mixed with the other provision with existing problem. That's the change made by the examiner. Okay, so I show you where it was covered in our material. CRD2, so 80% of problem covered. CRD2 in our material. I show you where it was covered in our material. This is other sources chapter, gift related problem, CRD2. Other sources. This is problem number 2, CRD2. All these points were taken as it is. In addition, that a new point was added which was taken from other problem, the liquidation related point. Have you understood? As it is, except one new point that was taken from other problem. So this problem was also given in guest questions released by the management. I show you in guest questions where it was covered. This is other sources chapter, CRD2. If you had prepared CRD2, you had answered this question comfortably. That is one of them. You would have answered comfortably this question if you had prepared well. Okay, next. Go to the next problem. So this is the residential status. Residential status 1. Determination of residential status of individual. Individuals related status. Individuals related status. Individuals are having 2 exceptions. This is the problem related to exception 2. Indian citizen or person of an Indian origin comes to India on visit, and his total income exceeds, total income from Indian sources exceeds 15 lakhs. So, but here is one change. Similar problem is there in our material, but this table had not covered in our material. Instead of this table, we have provided directly the income amount, directly the amount specified in the problem. But here is the income details provided separately. So based on these details, we to calculate the income exceeds 15 lakhs or not. That's the additional work to be made by the students in this problem. That extent is new in this problem when compared to our problem and compared to the problem covered in our material. I show you where it was covered, similar problem in our material. So CRD 4 and 11A, 80% covered in our material, residential status 1. CRD 4 and 11A. This is 11th one. Some portion of such problem was covered in this problem, and one more important, CRD4. This is CRD5. The similar problem is this CRD5. In CRD, if you had answered this CRD5, then you can answer that question comfortably. So this is, but here is the table had not given in this problem, but in examination paper the table had provided additionally, that income details has provided separately, but in this problem the income details has not given. So this problem has answered based on the assumption of total income whether exceeds 15 lakhs or not, but in examination paper the details of incomes given separately. That's the difference between this problem and the problem in exam paper. So remaining part is same. So of course, based on the conceptual knowledge of individual's residential status, students can answer this question very comfortably. Okay, it's a residential status 1, individual related status, that too exception number 2. Next question, this one. This is 50 lakhs, it's wrongly printed, 50 lakhs. This question from miscellaneous topics. Miscellaneous topics, that is section 69B. 69B was covered in our material as it is, but there is no practical problem in our material. But we provided only the section, theory part only, but there is no practical problem covered in our material, but we are trying to include a practical problems also in miscellaneous topics in upcoming materials. Don't worry, to existing batches we will provided a supplementary material. So in that material we promised to provide the each and every problem which is relates to you and which is beneficial to you, which is very important in examination point of view and not covered in our material. So this actually the section was given in our material, theory part only, but practical problem has not given in our material, but this is the practical problem, the too simple problem. Too simple, just it's a fundamental problem. Of course, if you had prepared such theory part, 69B section, just a single paragraph section, if you had prepared such paragraph, you can answer this question very easily. It's a too fundamental. Undisclosed incomes. So in fact, not properly recorded in the books of accounts. Here the market value of asset 50 lakhs, but value recorded in the books only for 10 lakhs. Unrecorded value in the books is 40 lakhs. The 40 lakhs will be taxable as deemed income. It's a deemed income section. Deemed income is equal to 40 lakhs. Whatever the amount not recorded in the books of accounts will be treated as deemed income. You are liable to pay tax on such amount at the rate of 60%. Tax at the rate of 60%. Plus surcharge 25%. Plus education cess 4%. Have you understood? This is the deemed income section. It was covered in our material in miscellaneous topics. Of course, I show you where it was covered in miscellaneous topics. Deemed income. This is the heading deemed income. In this heading there are 6 sections, 68, 69, 69A, 69B. This is only one paragraph, not fully disclosed. Whatever the amount not recorded in the books of accounts to be considered as deemed income. This is, if you had prepared this paragraph, you can answer that question very easily. Okay. So next, we'll go to the next, and also I show you in guest papers also it was provided. So miscellaneous topics, deemed income. Okay, next. So this is the problem related to AMT. AMT problem. This is the problem relates to AMT. AMT problem exclusively covered in our material. If you had prepared such problem of AMT, then you can answer this question very easily. AMT. The first point relates to capital gain. Second point relates to special economic zone 10AA. Third point relates to winnings. Fourth point chapter 6A. Combinedly, you need to answer this question based on the AMT concept. So I show you where it was covered in our material. This is problem number 20. This is exclusively relates to AMT problem. This is special economic zone concept. So AMT, if you had prepared this problem, you would have answered that question comfortably. So that's the importance of our material. Each and every model was covered in our material except 1 or 2 marks. So we are going to include those points which were not covered in our material by way of releasing supplementary to you material to existing batches, and by including in material itself in 40th session. Have you understood? This is the AMT question. Total income problem, total income CRD 20. This problem was also provided in guest papers. I show you where it was covered in guest papers. In total income, CRD 20. Total income. Sorry, it was not covered in our material, but the special economic zone problem. The special economic zone problem was separately taught in our classroom in exempted incomes chapter. Says the related problem. So based on that knowledge, you can answer this question. Okay. So it's covered in our material, existing material, but not covered in guest papers. Have you understood? The material itself contains the problem related to AMT. Don't worry. So each and every attempt, every concept was covered in our material. Next. The next one is exempted incomes chapter. It's a straight question with numbers also. It was as it is covered in our material. Where it was covered, I show you where it was covered in our material. CRD 6, 100% covered. CRD 6, 661 page number, CRD 6. This is the problem. As it is covered, except the change of assessee's name. Except that remaining problem as it is has given in the problem. So this is the exempted incomes chapter, CRD 6. If you had prepared this problem, so this is the problem which had given in the examination paper as it is. Have you understood? Next, this problem was also included in guest questions. Show you where it was covered. This is exempted incomes. Exemptions, CRD 6. Have you understood? So, and the last but not least, the last one is a purely theory question. There are 2 parts. Internal choice is there in this question. So there are 2 parts, but both the questions are return of income from return of income chapter. Both the questions 4 are 4. Both are 139 subsection 5. That is the revised return. This is the revised return question. This is the defective return question. 9. So both are theory questions straightly covered in our material. If you had prepared those theory questions, you would have answered these questions in examination mandatorily. Have you understood? So these are theory questions from return of income chapter. One is revised return, second one is defective return. I show you where it was covered in our material. So this is 139.5. This is the revised return, straight theory question. 4 marks, or 139.9 defective return, 4 marks. Theory questions straightly from our material. And also one more important, these two sections were also provided in guest papers. I show you where it was covered in guest papers. Return of income 139.5 and 139.9. Have you understood the importance of guest papers and the importance of our material? So I think I give you some conclusions. So the paper, income tax paper, is very easy when compared to previous 4 to 5 attempts. So if you had prepared our material comfortably, at least you had prepared the guest questions released by the management, you can get at least 4 to 50 marks in income tax itself out of 60. Have you understood? Okay. So before end of this session, so I'll give you some suggestions to the students. So my dear students, so material, existing material, whatever the material released by the management is very useful to you. Don't go outside the material. First prepare the entire material blindly, because 99% of the questions in examination compulsory from our material from various areas, compulsory. And if not, it will be covered in supplementary material provided by the management. So you need not prepare any other material at all. So in fact, while preparing this material, we too considered some problems, some concepts from various others books, reputed others books. So you need not prepare any others books, because all the important topics in others books also covered in our material in various areas. And one more important point, income tax paper is very lengthy. So in fact 3 hours time is not sufficient for taxation paper. That's why you need to follow whatever the writing techniques provided our management. Please blindly follow that, compulsory. It will very helpful to you in examination, to write the examination in time. Okay. So, and one more important point, don't want to write, don't want to answer 100% paper. If you can answer at least 80 to 85% marks, you can get the exemption also. Sometimes some students get the exemption even if they had answered the question paper at 80 to 85 marks. It's highly sufficient. Don't want to try to answer 100% paper unless you have confidence, unless you have knowledge about the answer. Otherwise, don't touch the complicated concepts. And one more important point is and please follow the handwriting techniques, whatever the handwriting techniques communicated by the management mandatorily. It may useful to you in examination point of view, and it may leads to reduce your time, and it may leads to save some time. So, and one of the very important, which is very helpful in examination point of view. And the second one is conceptual knowledge. Conceptual knowledge is very important. So don't prepare the provisions blindly, don't prepare the problems blindly. First try to understand the concept. Based on that concept, you can answer any type of question related to such concept. So conceptual knowledge is very important. Have you understood?